Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is WGMAtousa. I'm a woman chess grandmaster, and a lot of you guys know that I played in Reykjavik Open, which happened in Iceland. So I traveled all the way to Iceland from the States and played in that beautiful chess tournament. So in one of the rounds, one of the games actually caught my eyes, and it was really fascinating to see such a tactical game. And one of the players was Rosen, which is probably you heard his name. He is a chess streamer and also a YouTuber. So it was really interesting for me. He played a very nice game against a Turkish grandmaster, Yilmaz Mustafa, and I said, why not? Let's analyze this game together. I wanted to show you this game to you guys, and I want to ask you a couple of questions along the way because this game is a little bit tricky. Let's dive into the game. So Rosen is playing as white, Yilmaz Mustafa is playing as black. The game started with e4, c5. Yes, Sicilian defense. The most famous chess opening, I would say, or the sharpest opening, and all the good things. Okay, so knight f3. Eric basically chose to play bishop b5 here, not d4. d4 is a main line here, and if you're not familiar with the main line, you can see another video of mine which I played d4 actually against my opponent, and that was a really nice game. I showed you one of the sharpest line in Sicilian defense, I mean the line with bishop g5. But anyway, in this game Eric played bishop b5, knight d7, bishop a4, knight f6. All moves are theory here. Castle, e6, c4, bishop e7, knight c3, castle, d4, c takes d4, and knight takes d4. So we have marzipan structure here. In such positions, white usually has more space. But black is fine because black doesn't have a weakness, but black is usually, black doesn't have enough space. So black is trying to either exchange pieces or attack the center with d5 or b5 or put pressure on c4. So black needs some sort of a counter attack in such positions. Here black played a6. a6 is a typical move. And the pawn is taking away this square from the knight, and sometimes even black can go further and push the pawn to b5. So white played queen e2, queen c7, the queen belongs to c7, king h1, knight e5, attacking the pawn. White played bishop b3 to protect the pawn, knight c6, the knight is under attack, bishop e3, knight a5, and f4. f4 is an interesting move. The idea is to play on the king side and try to open up the position here. So for example, f5 or e5 are the options here. So black played rook e8. Rook e8 is also a logical move. We usually want to put the rook in front of the queen, so that's a good idea. In case the e-file becomes open, the rook can do a lot of attacks on the queen or some sort of discovery attacks. So white played bishop f2, b6, and white attacked the knight by pushing the pawn to e5. Here black played knight d7, bishop g3. Bishop g3 probably is not the most precise way to continue here. The best move here is to play bishop c2, but again, bishop c2 is really hard to play because c4 is hanging. But if the queen takes on c4, then we can play queen e4, and we are attacking the pawn h7 and the rook on a8. So here after knight d7, white played bishop g3, bishop b7, and here white played f5. f5 is an interesting move, although not the most precise move in this position. But I really like this move. Why? Because the idea is to open up f-file and also put pressure on e6. So black took on e5, which is not the best move here. Black needs to take on b3 first. And after, let's say, a takes b3, he can take on e5. But anyway, he took on e5, and then white took on e6. You see that we have a lot of tensions here on the board. F takes e6, bishop c2. Probably knight takes e6 was another interesting idea here. Bishop c2, bishop f6. Notice that in this position, black can't take the knight because the queen is hanging, right? So white played queen h5, black played knight f8. The idea is to take the pawn on h7, so black needs to play knight f8. And as you can see, white is in attacking mode, right? And I really like white's position here. And here white played knight e4, attacking the bishop. Black played queen e7, white played knight f3, which was correct, because the idea is, look, here, as I mentioned earlier, the pawn is pinned. So black played queen e7, not only protecting the bishop, but also black is attacking the knight now. Now he wants to take the knight, so we need to move the knight. So the knight moved to f3, the knight took on c4, and here white missed a very nice tactical move. So I want you guys to pause the video and find the best move for white. Yes, the best move for white is to take the bishop on f6. Now black has two options, either taking with the queen or with the pawn. If the pawn takes, then we can check on g4, and that's a double attack. So king h8, bye-bye knight, so it's just winning. And if the queen takes, we have a discovery attack. We can take on e5, the rook is attacking the queen, and the knight is attacking the knight on c4, so this is also winning. I mean, it's not possible for black to defend both of these pieces, so white is gonna win material anyway. But in the game, white played rook a e1. White didn't see this tactical move, so he moved the rook to e1, which is a logical move because he wanted to bring the last piece to the game, but because he could have won material, it was better to take on f6. Black played rook a c8 here, bishop b1, rook d8, rook f2, bishop takes e4. Okay, at this point, black got a better position. Bishop took, knight d6. Because you can see that black was up in material, but he was inferior because white pieces were attacking. But now black consolidated his position and he is still up 2 pawns. So that's why white is under pressure. So white played bishop c2. Black played queen f7, which was not the best move here. In this position, probably it was better to play g6 to attack the queen. And there is no sacrifice here because we can take on g6 and black is totally fine. The knight is also supporting the pawn. So in this position, after bishop c2, black played queen f7. Why? Because black is up in material. So whenever we are up in material, we do want to exchange pieces. We want to simplify the position, and then it's easier for us to win the game. So white obviously didn't want to exchange the queens. He played queen g4, rook c4. The queen is under attack. The queen moved to h3, knight f5, bishop takes e5. So white took one of the pawns, knight g6, and here bishop b3, another great move by the bishop. So the rook moved to c6, and here rook f e2 is also a good move. bishop takes e5, rook takes e5, another good move. I mean, knight takes e5 is not that great because after knight takes e5, rook takes e5, black can play knight d4, and black is defending everything. And if white is trying to win the pawn, black can take, rook takes, and then we can take. If the rook takes, we can checkmate on f1. And if the queen takes, we can take the queen, and after rook takes, back rank mate. This is one of the, I would say, famous checkmates in chess, back rank mate. The king is trapped and the game is over. So that's why white can't go for this line. The best move is rook takes e5, which white played in the game, and black played knight f4. Knight f4 is a bad move, it's a blunder. And here it's Eric's move, and he can win the game, I would say on spot, because here he can really win material immediately. So I want you guys to pause the video for the second time and find the best move for white. Yes, the best move for white here is to play queen takes f5. Notice that the pawn on e6 is pinned. So if black takes the queen, now we don't want to take the queen, but we want to checkmate the king. Look at this beautiful checkmate. Rook e8 check. The queen can't take because it's pinned. And if the rook takes e8 and checkmate. Beautiful checkmate, isn't it? So yeah, he could have played this, but it's understandable because you're playing in a chess tournament. It's a, I believe this was the second round or maybe third round of the tournament. So he might have had jet lagged, or it might have been actually morning game, which is a little more difficult to get into shape, you know, all of this stuff. But anyway, this was a really nice move that he could have done, and his opponent was also a 2600 player. He was a strong grandmaster, and after queen takes f5 he could win the game. So he didn't play, and he played quite fast here. Also, he might be in time trouble at this moment because players are playing very fast at this moment. I mean, black also played very fast, knight f4. But anyway, he played queen g4, and suddenly all of white's advantage just disappeared. There's no advantage now. So black played knight d4, knight takes d4, rook takes d4, g3, attacking the knight, h5, counter attack. If you have seen some of my YouTube videos, you know that I always a fan of counter attack. I think counter attack is the best defense. And h5 is a counter attack because the knight is under attack, but black is saying, okay, I'm going to take your queen if you take my knight. So white needs to move the queen. The queen moved to f3, knight d5. Again, black wants to exchange the queens. Queen e2, knight c7, the rook takes h5, queen g6, and here white played rook e5. So white took the pawn. It means that white is no longer down in material. Black played queen h6, queen f3. The idea was to play rook d2, and if the queen moves, then black can checkmate the king. For example, let's assume that white goes here, black can go here, and if we play here, then black can just checkmate the king in one move. Okay, so that's why white played queen f3. White is attacking the rook on c6, and rook d2 is not with tempo. So black played rook c1, and here white played h4. h4 was a blunder, and I think white missed that black can take the pawn with check, because if the pawn takes, the queen can take on h4, and this is a double attack. So after rook takes h4, white played king g1, black played queen d2, rook took the rook, queen takes d1, queen d1. Obviously, if we move the king here, rook h2 check, and white loses the queen. So that's why black took on c1, queen d1, queen takes d1, bishop takes d1, and rook d4. Okay, in this position, black is up a pawn, but still black needs to have the right technique to win the game. It's not totally losing for white, so white has some chances. White played bishop b3, because also notice that white has a bishop, but black has a knight, and the knight is not that great on c7. So black played rook d2, attacking the pawn on b2. And as you know, guys, we usually want to have our rooks on the 7th rank from our side, because the rooks are 7th rank are really strong, and they can make a lot of troubles for your opponents. So bishop takes e6, knight takes e6, rook takes e6, rook takes b2, and okay, white played a4, a5, king f1, the king is being cut off by the rook, so he's trying to move the rook closer, rook c6, g5, king e1, g4, king d1, king e7, king c1, rook b4, attacking the pawn, and king c2, so king d7, rook f6 here, rook f7 check, king c6 check here. Notice that if black goes here, we can check here, and actually black cannot improve the position. Oh, actually here, instead of checking on f4, we have also rook g5, which is an important move, because black cannot defend this pawn. This is interesting because the king can't actually move away, so he can, you know, open up the rook. So this is actually even better for white. But let's assume that he goes here. Now we can just check on f4, because if the rook goes here now, then the king can go to e3. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the game. After king b7, rook f7 check, king a6, king c3, rook takes a4, king b3. So black got the second pawn, rook e4, rook f6, a4 check, king e3, king a5, rook f8, rook e3 check, king b2, rook takes g3, and here white just resigned because white is down 3 points, and there is no point to continue the game because it's not easy, you know, to come back, and it should be an easy win for black. But this game was really interesting because white had a lot of tactical moves, and it was really interesting even for me that a player like 2400, 2500, 2600 can even miss such moves. And chess is a difficult game. Yes, it is a difficult game. So even a 2700 player is a human, so they can make mistakes. So that's why I wanted to show you guys. And if you make mistakes in your own games, don't panic, don't get frustrated. It's okay, because we are human, we can make mistakes. But the most important thing is to learn from your mistakes, and you want to play better next time. That's the most important thing. You need to learn from your losses, and you want to get that experience and use it in your next games. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for my next video, please write me in comment section and I will read them all. Have a great day or night wherever you are in this world, and I'll see you soon. Take care.